ready?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I used to have one of those in the car when I was in the 60s, didn't you guys? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think we're ready. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order and just point out that all the members of the town council are here, either in the room or by Zoom. And first, why don't we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America,
to the republic under God, indivisible, with
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone who is joining us by Zoom or by the town website. And just to make it a little bit easier for people to see at a distance, I'd like to point out who is here in the room and have people, as I call your names, to raise your hands so people know where everyone is when you're talking. And it's opposite from what you're seeing there. So let's start the right-hand side of your screen there. Far down to the right is Mr. Joe Healy. Joe, would you raise your hand, please? Okay. And next to him is Patrick Shepley. And next to him here is our town manager, Cliff Gravier. And then I'm here, Rosemary Hardiman, and Lou Kilmer, Jerry Morris, Faith Denault. And you can see the big picture there, the giant screen picture is Bruce Fry. And also in the room, we have our Assistant Town Manager, John Apple, and our IT Director, Will Wharton. I'd like, before we start, too, I'd like to ask Mr. Gravier if he would explain to people how they can comment through the Zoom feature or however you are doing it. Thank you.
Mayor, because this meeting is closed to the public, we invite public comment through a Zoom platform. If you only want to watch the meeting and do not want to comment, you can continue to do so using the live meeting option on the town's website that you are using at this time. However, if you wish to comment, we ask that you go to the town's website, townofbethanybeach.com, and click on the link for Zoom for this meeting on the town's home page. You'll see it at the bottom of the page with news features that refer to Zoom meeting for town council. From there, you will be given directions on how to access this meeting live via Zoom and how to comment on this meeting using the Zoom chat box feature. Questions and comments will be read during council discussion of new and old business for all the items listed on this agenda. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gravier. In connection with that, once we get, there'll be 3 items here before we get to an item which is announcement, recognition of visitors, and public comment. And that section is for people who want to comment on anything that is not included in today's agenda. So I'm giving you a heads up, the people who would like to comment on something not on today's agenda, that as we go through the next 3 items, you may want to become familiar with the chat feature and type your comments in. It'll save you a little bit of time. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. And as I sent an email to council this morning asking if you would be agreeable to amending the agenda to take items Roman numeral 4, D and E. D is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on committee guidelines. And item E is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on town council procedure and protocol manual, and move them to the January meeting, perhaps at a workshop. I think both of those items require more discussion in order to give them some justice and adequate time. And I don't think I don't think it's good to rush those today. Is that agreeable to everyone? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with those amendments?
So moved.
A question?
A comment under announcements and reports, item B, approval of financial report. That's already listed above under item E, so that's not, that should be struck.
It belongs under item E, right? The first one?
It belongs under item E.
Okay, great. So you don't want to give two reports?
I can do it twice if everybody didn't hear it the first time.
All right, thank you. Okay, with those, everybody in favor? Okay,
Aye.
all right, okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 16th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the financial report. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. This report covers the budget through October 31st, 2020. We are 58% through our fiscal year 2021. Under operating budget revenue, in total, we have collected 80.6% of the budget revenue, compared to 94.2% at this time last year. Under operating budget expenses, we have expended 56.1% of our budget amount, compared to 64.3% expended at this time last year. Recognizing that this report is subject to audit, I respectfully move that the council accept and approve this unaudited report.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item on the agenda, it will be any announcements or a public comment. And Mr. Kilmer, you had an announcement.
Yes, this week, I assume all of you have received the Word,
Take it off to speak. We can't,
I assume that everyone on council received the Word document for the 2010-2020 Comprehensive Plan. So the Planning Commission will be starting, Planning and Zoning will start working on that for the next 2020 to 2030. Any comments you'd like to make, please submit them to the Mike Boswell of the Planning and Zoning Commission so that we can include your comments and other things you would like to be part of the comprehensive plan. That's it.
oh, thank you. And that'll go out for public comment, too, once they
Yes,
get, yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other announcements?
That's why I made it,
Yeah.
so.
Mr. Shepley?
I just have a question. Did you say we received something about that this week?
You should have received the old comprehensive plan. I asked that to be sent out.
We didn't receive
Okay, I don't think I received
No,
it.
I don't
No,
think
we haven't received it yet.
No.
Oh,
Haven't
good.
received it.
I believe Mr. Kilmer just asked that it be sent to the planning commission, but I'll check our emails.
Yeah,
But I'll send it to the
yeah,
council.
I think it's important for them to also look at it and
Certainly.
have it too.
Again, but I think it was just the planning
Yes.
commission, but I'll double check.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kilmer. Anybody else? Do we have any comments or from the, those who are watching?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Those, okay. Hearing no comments, we'll continue. The next item on the agenda is a report from the town manager. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council, we're moving ahead with our report and our study regarding the possible impact of a bladder dam and gate project. DENREC is working now to schedule a meeting with staff, with a number of DENREC officials to review the report and the assessment. Again, the assessment from the report is positive. And in addition to that, the town is now working with a larger regional engineering firm to give us a better, more definitive report that we can use as we talk to officials at both the state and federal level regarding the potential impact of a bladder dam and a gate. We are engaged with this firm right now. We're waiting on a little bit of a discussion on fees, and we'll be moving forward with them as soon as we receive that. Using this firm will also give us the opportunity to have a little bit of a better analysis of the tidal flow north of Fred Hudson Road, which is something that the Army Corps has mentioned to us that they weren't able to complete in their earlier studies and worked with us. The CARES Act funds COVID expenses for local government. And we've been, I think, very fortunate. We submitted a request for $156,000 for reimbursement for our expenses this summer, and CARES has notified us that they're going to refund $145,000, and subsequently, with further review, we think there'll be another several $1,000s added to that number. So overall, thanks to Janet's very meticulous record keeping, we've been able to recoup almost all of our expenses related to COVID. We continue to queue up those numbers, and we'll be submitting another request in the next few weeks. I mentioned last month that the main generator at our water plant went down after some problems with power outages on Collins Street. The generator will have to be replaced. The generator is over 30 years old. We have it maintained routinely. It's one of the things you have to do with those very large diesel engines, but it had a failure in its cooling system and overheated. And essentially, the generator is done. It can't be repaired, or it's not cost-effective to repair it. We now have some estimates coming in. We believe that the cost to repair and replace, and also to enhance some of the electrical systems at the plant, will be between $80,000 and $100,000, and I'll be bringing that number back to you for approval, I'm sure, at our January meeting. The Collins Street Kent Avenue project design is in its final stages. The council has already voted and approved work on Collins, but we went back for another design that would remove some of the pervious pavement portions of that design on Collins, and went to a non-permeable surface in order, again, to drive the cost down. And we believe the impact of that will be minimal. And at the same time, our engineering firm is working to take care of, in their design, any potential flooding or water retention issues on Collins. But the most significant addition to that project is including Kent Avenue in it. And what we would do there is bring our walkway down Collins to Kent. We would go south on Kent on the west side of the roadway to a crossover at the library, and cross from the library to Wellington, and create a path on Wellington to Route 1 where we have the pedestrian crossover. So the new plan would include that, and the crossover at Kent Avenue would also include a pedestrian crosswalk and a flashing pedestrian warning light similar to the ones we have on Route 1. Mentioning those lights, we had hoped to get 3 additional pedestrian crosswalks and flashing pedestrian lights on Route 1 in this fiscal year, and working with the state. However, a downturn in funding for the state has resulted in them only able to fund 1 light for us, and that'll be a light replacement at Central Avenue. That's an expensive installation because the crosswalk will have to be realigned, and the cost for that is $90,000. The state is going to pick that expense up for us, but at the same time, I'll be coming to the council to suggest that we put a crosswalk at our own expense at Ocean View Parkway. And that cost, DelDOT estimates today to be $65,000. So they'll pick up the more expensive one again at their cost, and ask us if we want one at Ocean View Parkway to provide access, better, safer access to that part of the community for the town to absorb that expense. We've reached the point in park construction where we have one final payment left on the park. The punch list that we put together along with the park's designer, Scott Scarfone, has been reviewed and has been taken care of. There are no items left for us to be concerned with the park. Mr. Scarfone did a review of all the recent plantings. Some were replaced at his direction. Part of the contract also involves Mr. Scarfone doing another review in the spring of all the plantings, and if there are any issues with those will also be replaced at the contractor's expense. We started a Facebook page. We had one a number of years ago, and we took it down. Our entertainment media director, Julie Molesky, has had her own Facebook entertainment page, but this will be a separate page from that, and it'll deal with general information. We're not trying to become a newspaper. We certainly don't want to do that, don't have the staff to do it. And we'll present general information there. We'll use it for things that are topical, and probably it will be a great way for us, especially during storm events, to quickly and effectively communicate in a forum that's more accessible to people than us compiling information and sending it out on listserv. Our fledgling YouTube channel is up and running. We're doing a trial run of it now internally here, and we'll more aggressively advertise it when we have it a little bit better populated with videos and features. You can go to it now, or you can find it at Bethany Beach Gov, all lowercase. When you search YouTube, you'll see a number of videos on it. You'll see some of our recent council meetings, and going forward, our new meetings that we'll be posting to the site will be in much better quality, HD quality, and again, YouTube is far more accessible to everyone than our Granicus platform. I would suggest that people watching this and council members search the WBOC Delmarva Small Town Series. There is a feature now about Bethany Beach. It stars our mayor, Rosemary Hardiman, and she's just done a fabulous job with it. Thank you, Mayor. And it's certainly worth watching and covers a lot of different things in Bethany and a good number of Bethany Beach businesses. The town continues to work with the University of Delaware and participates, as it has many times, in grant work related to our coastal communities. Two areas of interest that the University of Delaware will be studying here in the near future in conjunction with us are the tidal flooding tendencies in this area around Bethany Beach and how those tendencies affect Bethany Beach. They'll be looking at things outside of our community, specifically trying to integrate it with information that we have already collected. In addition, the university will also look at the economic impact of our ongoing inundating flooding and what that means to the town and to the area economically. So this should be some interesting work. And probably the most important thing I guess I can speak to today is the fact that our famous horticulturist is hard at work planting tulips. So we all will have something to look forward to in the spring. But Melinda Lindy is incredible. She's just a machine, and she has been working night and day almost, yes, to get that completed here. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay. Any comments?
I just have a question. Is the generator is that a backup generator?
It's a backup generator when we lose power.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have a second backup, but it's much smaller, so we need the larger generator.
That's a backup generator when the power goes down?
Yes, it kicked on in a power outage on Collins.
Gotcha, all right.
Mr. Shepley?
On the crosswalk at Ocean View, will that include the pedestrian flashing lights?
Yes,
Yes.
both
So-
will.
So, and do we have a time frame for when those might be done?
They'll be done before the summer season.
Good. So the summer season next year, we'll have the one flashing set of lights south of 26 and two north.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Was there a possibility of another one south?
There was discussion at Ashwood, but it's problematic with the design of the intersection. And that would be very expensive and be a major redesign of the intersection. And I don't know how really interested DelDOT is in doing that particular intersection.
Okay. And then we may have one at Kent, too.
As I said,
Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
part of whatever we did with the Collins Kent project. Now, that will be at our cost. When we engage DelDOT in working on Kent, and Kent is a state-owned roadway, one of the ways we interested them in helping us resolve a pedestrian safe passage there was the idea that the town would absorb the cost for any of those installations or work on Kent Avenue.
Okay. Well, there certainly is a lot going on in town. Thank you very much.
Mayor.
Okay,
Mayor, if I would one more time.
sure.
Again, this meeting, you have the ability to comment on this meeting by going to a Zoom feature. You can find that Zoom feature on the town's homepage at our website, townofbethanybeach.com, all lowercase. On the bottom portion of that page, you'll see a link that will take you to the Zoom for today's town council meeting. If you click on that link, it'll open instructions and a link to this meeting and tell you how to enable and use the chat feature. So if you haven't done that or missed that earlier instruction, that is how we are receiving comment today. I'm sorry if you did miss it and that you're not able to participate with us on our normal Granicus platform, but it's not user-friendly or very accessible, so hence we're layering Zoom on top of that feature.
When we get the YouTube channel up and running, will they be able to more easily comment?
YouTube has a chat feature also, and I think YouTube is far easier to use than the Granicus platform, which really, even though it's a function, and that's our
Right.
it's how we queue up minutes and we store information, it's not as accessible as YouTube. So yes, YouTube will be easier, and there is a chat feature.
Okay, that will be good news. And I'll just reiterate that following each of these items of business, we will read whatever comments are there pertaining to that item. But if you happen to miss one, we'll pick up with you later on, so don't worry about it. Okay, the first item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a Comcast franchise agreement and approval of franchise resolution. And I would just point out that we have received a number of comments, written comments on this, in addition to the comments that we had received at the hearing which was held last Friday. So those will all be entered into the record, and thank you for those who took the time to comment on either one of these two or both of the franchise agreements. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, there was one unanswered question on the 13th of November when we had our public hearings regarding the franchise agreements we're going to discuss today. And I've had this comment or question, I think, and I think some council members also have received this question. And that is a concern or the question regarding whether or not Comcast, as part of their work in Bethany Beach and their offerings in Bethany Beach, would actually run fiber optic cable into a residential home. And after some research, and it's not a package that Comcast sells very often, but they do have a package where they bring fiber optic into the house. It's a $500 installation fee, and it's a $300 a month charge. And that gives you fiber optic in the residence. It is available. And in our discussions with Comcast, I assume that might be in whatever offerings they present to the town at the point in time they're able to do that. Mayor, Council, the Comcast Corporation has advised the town that they intend to install a cable TV network at Bethany Beach. This network will also have the capability to provide internet and voice service and the full suite of Comcast and Xfinity packages. Before Comcast can move ahead with this work, they are obligated by federal statute to enter into a franchise agreement with the town. This agreement deals with the provision of basic cable TV service. Today, I ask that you consider passing the resolution that you have in your packet, affirming the approval of this agreement and allowing Comcast to begin the construction for their system. Mayor.
Do I have a motion?
You have a motion to accept Comcast as a franchise and their franchise agreement
And approve the resolution.
and approve the resolution, yes.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. We'll take a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. The resolution passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a Mediacom franchise renewal agreement and approval of the franchise and resolution. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, as I have previously stated, the federal government mandates that all cable TV providers enter into a franchise agreement with local government entities where they provide service. Mediacom has had a franchise agreement with Bethany Beach for over 2 decades, and that agreement, once again, is due for renewal. I ask the council to consider passing the resolution that you have in your packet, affirming your approval of renewing our franchise agreement with Mediacom.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the resolution for the agreement between the town and Mediacom.
There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Shepley? Yes, Mr. Shepley.
I would just like to mention that in my community, my development, Lake Bethany, Mediacom is laying new cable throughout the community. I don't know if it's in all the streets, but We had mentioned at the meeting, the public meeting we had last week, that we had approached MediaCom with requests for some improvement in their service, one of those improvements being a review of all their equipment. I don't know if this is part of it or a coincidence, but I just thought it was interesting that MediaCom is replacing the cable that runs through our development.
Mr. Shepley, they've also done the two-turtle walk.
I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But they are doing far more than the items they listed in their exchange with the town that we discussed at our last meeting. They are really, and they're using a number of different companies to do it, right, John? Installing a lot of underground cabling in the community again.
Mr. Shepley, do you know if that's fiber or coax?
No. No, I don't know.
Internal walk, it's coax.
It's coax and Turtle Walk?
What, the power of competition, huh?
That's a competition, yeah. I forgot to ask the last time, are there any comments from the public?
There's nothing in the
Okay.
box here.
Okay, so hearing no comments, we'll vote on the motion that's on the floor to accept to renew the franchise agreement with MediaCom and to pass the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, the ayes carry it. Thank you, Mr. Gravier.
Mayor?
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a resolution to approve the final annual assessment list as presented November 20th, 2020. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, you have the assessment list for all the properties in the town of Bethany Beach. The assessment list has been posted on our website since May for all property owners to review. We held an assessment meeting earlier this afternoon for homeowners to request revision to their assessments. Since there were no requests for changes, I make a motion that we accept and approve the list as presented.
It's been first and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the discussion, consideration, and possible vote on appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mayor Hardeman.
Thank you. Kathy Shorter was appointed last year to fill Jim Circus's unexpired term. Her appointment expired on October 2020, so I recommend that she be appointed to her own 3-year term, beginning today and ending October 2023. That's in the form of a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Good addition.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. The motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now the next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on the mission statement and recommend committee appointments to the Stormwater and Tidal Flooding Committee. Mr. Fry.
Mayor, this is one of the 3 ad hoc committees that we've decided to create, and the purpose for this one, the Stormwater and Flooding Committee, is to provide advice and assistance to the town council and town manager regarding flooding issues within the town and current and potential mitigation measures and strategies. We have asked for volunteers, and we've gotten 12. I have selected 5 for the committee, and I'd like to read them. Jack Gordon, former mayor of Bethany Beach, Ron Califf, Chip Smith, Mark Bauernhuber, and John Kobe. And I guess I would like to make a motion that you accept the purpose and these 5 candidates for the committee.
Oh, that's me?
No, that's, no. That's okay, yeah.
Oh, I do,
Who's on first?
I do have a question.
Okay, want to get a second first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, any discussion?
Thank you.
Bruce, don't you think it's important to have either Susan Frederick or John Apple as a member of this group?
Yes, in fact, I plan to have John Apple. but I guess he will not be, I mean, he's a town person, not an official committee person.
Mr. Kilmer, I believe I think I've told all the potential chairs of these committees that either John and I will sit in on all of these meetings.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that was, you know,
Yeah.
because I think it's important that they don't work
Oh,
independently.
certainly, yes.
Or a surprise.
Don't like surprises.
Yes, and in fact, at our first meeting, Cliff Garvey is going to speak to us, bring us up to date, so that's a good start.
I am.
Okay, any other questions, comments? That was a good job, Mr. Fry. We have a motion on the floor in the second, and the motion is to accept the purpose and scope of work of the Stormwater and Flooding Committee. And also, we might as well combine them and accept the people, too, that Mr. Fry has put forth. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I would point out, too, at this point, that we have received a tremendous number of people who responded to our request for people to join any of these three committees. In fact, there was it was really heartening to see that there are so many people willing to serve on committees in town, and so many people with wonderful and very impressive qualifications. For those, because we had a limited number of people on the committee, we weren't able to accept everyone. I did send an email today to those who were not able to be accommodated on the committee and thanking them for their interest and assuring them that we'd be putting together a list of people, of those people, and sending them around to the different committee chairs of all the committees, and when openings came up, to see if any of them would be people who could fit into that work. So I just wanted to thank everyone who took the time to do that. We really appreciate it, and we will try to find a spot for you if possible. So just don't give up. And the other thing I want to remind people of is any of these items that are on the agenda are posted on the website. If you go in there under Government and hit the link that brings you to the agendas for the Town Council, you'll see that there are briefing book materials in the beginning. And so please, I encourage you at each of the meetings to go in there and to download the items and become familiar with them. Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a mission statement and recommended committee appointments to the Telecommunications Committee. Mr. Shepley.
Mayor, as Mr. Fry stated, the Telecommunications Committee is one of the three new ad hoc committees that we set up, that we approved last month at our meeting. And the purpose, the proposed purpose that I hope will be approved today for the Telecommunications Committee is, the purpose of the Telecommunications Committee is to provide advice and assistance to the Town Council and Town Manager concerning telecommunication developments and issues that affect the town and its citizens. The primary focus should be in two areas: external developments that might directly affect the town government and/or our citizens, and internal policies and plans that may enable the town staff to operate more efficiently and enhance services to our citizens. The proposed members of this committee are myself, Margaret Cook, Ron Dobes, Brad McIlvain, Mark Newman, Paul Smith, Jim Tobin, and the town manager or his designee. I would like to make a motion that we approve the purpose and scope of the Telecommunication Committee, as well as the members of the Telecommunications Committee.
So moved. Or second.
Second. Any questions?
Yeah, again,
The microphone.
you mentioned John Apple or you on the other committees. Is Mr. Wharton on this committee? Will?
It'll be a staff member and specific to what the issues are. I mean, if
Because
they're-
I think it's important to designate those individuals on those committees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Are there any, do we have any comments from the public out there?
No,
Not
Mayor.
yet? Okay, thank you. Hearing no additional comments, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Shepley. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on, missions, excuse me, I was reading the wrong one. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on mission statement and recommended committee appointments to the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Committee. Mrs. Denault.
Faith. Microphone.
Okay, the purpose of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee is to provide advice and assistance to the town council and town manager regarding bicycle and pedestrian safety conditions and issues in Bethany Beach. I'm very pleased to say that we had a tremendous number of people who volunteered for the committee, and it was kind of tough to narrow it down, but I have selected 5 people. As soon as I can find my list, here they are. I would like to propose Diane Fogish, Mickey Hinman, Teresa Keel, Dan Rosenblatt, and Carl Tuff, along with whomever the council or the town manager appoints. So I would request that a motion be approved for the purpose of the committee as well as the 5 individuals that have been recommended.
Thank you, Mrs. Denault. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions, comments? No?
The only comment I have overall is I'm really happy that we're making these new committees. I think they're very appropriate for the issues that the town is dealing with now and into the future. And I think that we recognize that we do need citizen participation in those things, just makes it much better of actually finding true solutions.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with you. Okay, so hearing no more comments and no comments from the public? Okay.
There are no comments.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion to approve the mission statement and the scope of work of the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Committee and the people put forth by Mrs. Denault, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it.
Next item on the agenda, the discussion,
But
consider,
we did that one now.
I'm sorry?
We combined that, unfortunately.
Oh, fine,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Coomer. Well, that next item on the agenda was really combined with the 3 that previous ones.
That's true.
We did it one by one, so thank you. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a contract submitted by Jerry's Incorporated for the 2021 street paving project in the amount of $281,467.60. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council, the Kircher Group, our engineering firm, does a very comprehensive analysis of the paving needs in our community, the street paving needs in our community. They compile a list, a prioritized list of what needs to be done, and every year we work to fund and repair as much of the different problems that they have pointed out to us that we possibly can. This year, we have put together a list of streets and taken those streets that Mr. Kircher recommends be replaced or repaired out to bid, and we received 3 bids for this year's work. The bids range from $281,000 from Jerry's Incorporated to $342,000, Adel Construction, and $346,000 from George and Lynch. The low bid, obviously, is Jerry's Paving, Jerry's Incorporated, at $281,000. $123,000 of that $281,000 comes from municipal street aid funding. The list of repairs or streets that will be part of this contract are available in Town Hall for review. So Mayor, a motion and a second if you all want to proceed with this work.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Jerry's Paving, Inc. for the paving projects this year and for the streets that have been designated to be upgraded.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Boy, what a difference in costs.
Yes.
Incredible.
Mr. Shepley?
Under description of purchase, it says 2020 paving projection or project. Is it going to be done in this calendar year, or is that next year's?
That's just how it's listed.
Okay,
Yeah.
it will be done sometime next year.
That is, yes, that's, yes.
Thank you.
And we've also had experience with this company, too. It's not just that they're the lowest bidder. We've been pleased with their work.
We've used Jerry's Incorporated.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make
good
that
bid.
clear. Yeah, thank you. Okay, did we take a vote on that?
I'm sorry?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, Mr. Gravier, the next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a contract submitted by Oceans Well Incorporated for boardwalk board replacement in the amount of $35,280.
Mayor, Council, we have been very, very fortunate in our selection of decking material for our boardwalk. We selected Kebney because we believed in the product, and it was more expensive initially than the installation of the normally chemically treated boards that most other jurisdictions in this area use to replace or use for boardwalk boards. Kebney is a more natural material, and it was, when we reviewed it, we believed that it might have at least a 20-year life, and that's what Kebney told us. Our first installation of the boards, again, it was more expensive than your normally chemically treated boardwalks that you see, had some issues, had some problems, and apparently there was some problems with the type of board selected by the Kebney Company, and the Kebney Company is based in Norway, and it was also a problem with the treatment they used that helps their boards last longer than normal decking material. Kebney, since the point in time we raised our concerns about their product, has aggressively worked with us and continues to work with us to the point in time that we believe will eventually replace every board on our boardwalk with new Kebney boards, which are holding up much better than the board's initial installation of their product. And it's very unusual, I think we all have experienced in our lives, that you find someone that sells you a product and stands behind it this way. So they have delivered, the Kebney Company has delivered another tractor trailer load of boards to us, boards that come from Norway, offloaded in Baltimore, driven here and offloaded here, again to replace problematic boards on our boardwalk. And it's very, very impressive the way they're standing behind their product. The contract you see here is for Ocean Swell Incorporated. The town this is a sole source contract. We have used Ocean Swell for over 2 decades. When we've had issues with the boardwalk in storms, they're immediately available. They are our go-to for a number of different things here in town. When we go to the time, effort, and trouble to actually bid their work, and the replacement work of the boards is intensive because taking the boards up is a very difficult task, the existing boards up, because they're power screwed into the support structure. This company has always been our low bidder, and Brett enjoys working with them, and they work with us in terms of when they're on and when they're off. If we have problems with them, they'll work off the boardwalk and work off hours. The cost for the installation of these boards is $35,280, and Mayor, Council, a motion and a second if you would like to proceed with this.
Do I have a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Well, I just make I don't think you were clear, but they gave us these boards for
Free.
no cost.
No cost to the
And
boards.
also, the transportation was, they paid for that also.
They bring the boards to us, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. I mean, there's, you said earlier, not many companies,
No,
and how many years is this now? That'd be 10 years
It's
later?
just about 10 years now, yes.
Yeah. So it's impressive that they stand behind their product.
product. They're replacing it free and transporting
I
it free.
think we're also one of the first towns that actually used their product, wasn't it?
The product is in use, that they've used a significant amount of it around the mall in DC, and it's used a lot, but
Yeah, but I'm talking about here in
in
Delaware.
the area, yes, and certainly in Delmarva, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Shepley?
Cliff, is this a whole section of the south end of the boardwalk, or is it, you know, a bunch of boards here and a bunch there?
We're replacing boards, individual boards as needed.
Okay.
And I think part of this issue is that some of the initial installation, the boards held up differently than their problem boards.
So,
But they've been very consistent in just bringing us, they don't come in, they don't measure, they don't look. They ask us what we need, and they consistently deliver for us, so,
And these new ones seem to be standing up better
yes, much better.
than the old ones. Okay, any additional comments or questions? Any from the public that you see?
And one of the things we tend to forget with the Kebney is, and you only have to visit Rehoboth or Ocean City to see what the difference is in the boards. So we've come to accept it, but the injuries, the splinters, the ongoing problems with the
Yep.
existing boards, we just don't have it with Kebney.
No, we don't.
Plus, you know, when you use the materials that aren't wood, they're always too hot to walk on.
Yes,
And no comments from the public, Mr. Gravier?
nothing.
No, okay.
And I'm checking the admin box also to see if
Okay.
we're getting any pushback that we're not accessible, but there's nothing there also.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the contract submitted by Oceans Well for the boardwalk replacement in the amount of $35,280. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes carry it. The next item on the agenda is discussion consideration of the design of the town park sign. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, I think we skipped one.
Oh, did we?
Yes, M.
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion, consideration, and possible vote on a contract submitted by Environtech Environmental Consulting, Inc. for the Loop Canal for restoration of the South Side Loop, east side of Delaware Route 1, in the amount of $36,950. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council, you have a purchase order in front of you from Envirotech. This is for the installation of riprap on the south side of the Loop Canal east of Route 1. This completes the restoration of the entire loop east of 1. It's a sole source because of the nature of the work, and the only company that performs this specific type of analysis and work in the area is Envirotech. And this will result in that entire loop being stabilized and will stop the erosion of the loop in that area. So, Mayor, a motion and a second to proceed.
I have a motion. Mrs. Denault, second? Second. Mr. Shepley. Any discussion, questions?
Cliff, this is riprap, this is stone,
Mrs. Stone,
big stone.
just similar to what's on the north side of the canal, the loop, rather.
Okay. And nothing from the public? Nothing,
No, Mayor.
okay. All right, hearing no further comments from the council or from the public, I'll call for a vote on the motion to approve the contract submitted by Envirotech for the completion of the work on the Loop Canal to restore the south side east of Route 1 in the amount of $36,950. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion consideration of the design of the town park sign. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council, when the park was completed and the sign was completed, the conversations between staff, the Public Works Director and myself regarding the font, the style of the sign. The background and that cement wall is tinted to be a woodsy color, a woodsy look to it. but the font used, and it's a font that appeared in all of our drawings and all of our diagrams on all the park workup and elevations. But sometimes seeing is different than, actually seeing something is different than trying to visualize it in the diagram, and I think that certainly was the case with the font that was used on that sign. Subsequently, this summer, I think we had 2 complaints, a husband and wife, writing us separately. One wrote me and one wrote John, bitterly complaining about the sign. We wrote back to them and said it was something we were considering and looking at and had a similar concern. In the midst of all we've done with COVID and everything else that's going on, we did ask a local company that we've worked with before for other signage we have in town to give us a couple of renditions or ideas of what we might be able to do a little bit differently with the font and retaining the wall. We would not take the wall down. The wall is a substantial structure, extremely well built, and I think with the right display on the wall, it would be a more positive addition to the park than it is today. In your briefing material and available in the briefing material on the web are a couple of pages with some design ideas. One of them is a design in blue that mimics our signs at the north and south ends of town, with the bright blue and the white lettering and the gold shells. And another, even though it appears to be gray, the color is supposed to be the existing color of the sign. If you look at the sign today, I know Mr. Scarfone designed it to have sort of a woodsy appeal, if you will. The concrete base is a brown wood color, and the lettering is the green. So I think when you look into the park from the street, that's the effect that he was looking for, and the effect that I would recommend that we consider moving forward. You see a number of font designs, and it's really hard to visualize this because the actual wall itself is on an arc. So it's hard to get an idea for what this is like. But if you take these, look at the sign, visualize it again, the arc, I just ask you to consider that, think about that. We'll get some estimates for replacing some of the lettering and maybe adding a seal and get some better renditions for you. I'd like to see this be a topic for a future workshop, and we'll try to get some more detail and some ideas about cost, and would also ask you to think about what you'd like to see there, or if you're just satisfied with the way it looks, or do you think we should make this change? I don't think it would be substantial, certainly, or there'll be a cost involved, but I think the park might deserve a better-looking entrance sign that so many people get a chance to look at as they drive up and down 1 and 26. So for a future workshop, for you to think about, anyone listening that has any ideas of what we might be able to do, and again, we don't intend to take the wall down, but with the existing wall, how we might be able to make that more attractive, we'd be glad to hear that.
Any comments?
Everything was sent out to everybody the same, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It was in your package.
On this package, it was sent
Not
to
this
your
package.
house.
You can have this.
Lisa sent the notes thing out.
Is that, I do have one question. Did you mention something about, on that second one, they're making it woodsy?
No, I said it is, I believe Scarfone designed it to have a woodsy effect. You're looking at, as you look in at it, it's a wood color. The cement is tinted with the green lettering.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it's sort of in sync with the pavilion.
Okay.
So
And will the lighting, is the lighting something that's going to be changed, or has it been changed?
the lighting is going to be changed.
Okay,
It was part of the punch list with the contractor.
okay.
Well, it's still backlit lighting, right?
The lighting were spots instead of floods, so when the lights come up, there's three bright round spots on the sign. So they needed to be replaced.
Gotcha, I got it,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Were there any comments from the public on that?
Mary Louise Embry wants to know if the missing H has been found, and the missing H was right in front of the sign, and thank you for writing to us, because I was really concerned that this wasn't working.
Okay. And if anyone wants to look at them online and submit comments, please feel free. It will be considered at a future workshop, so you have plenty of time. Thank you, Mr. Gravier.
Mayor?
The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on the July 4th, 2021 celebration and parade and fireworks. Mr. Fry.
Yes, Madam Mayor, as Chair of the 4th of July Parade Committee, we've discovered that the 4th of July is on a Sunday in 2021. That's a problem because the Christian church across the street there is a major area for our staging for the parade, and the church does not want us there on Sunday, obviously. So I'd like to propose that we move the 4th of July parade celebration and fireworks to Monday, July 5th.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Isn't that assuming that we can even have it?
What's that?
We might even be able to have it.
There's a
I think the
50-50
caveat-
chance we'll have a parade, depends.
Yeah, the caveat is whether or not we will be far enough removed from COVID-19 to be able to safely have gatherings.
Yeah, I mean, which is, I think, is questionable at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, and I think that's a good point to clarify for the audience that's listening. It would be Monday, provided that we are in a position to have it. We're far enough along with this disease to be able to safely gather. And Mr. Fry, could you explain why why it was chosen Monday and not Saturday?
We actually had it on Saturday a few years ago. And it was a lot more trouble because of the, people are changing on Saturdays, coming in and going out.
Yeah.
And the realtors were okay, but it was a problem. We think a Monday would be much better.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. And I'm sure we'll be informing the realtors too, so they can advise people who want to make reservations. Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second that we move the festivities for the 4th of July, the parade and the fireworks, to Monday, July 5th, 2021, if we are far enough along with COVID-19 to be able to safely gather in groups again. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much, Mr. Fry.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible vote on canceling the December 2020 Town Council meeting. Mr. Fry.
Mayor, it has been customary to cancel the council meeting for December, assuming nothing urgent comes up. So I'd like to propose again this year, we cancel the December meeting.
Have a second? Okay. Any questions, thoughts? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes carry it. Okay, the next, before we could go any further, is there anything that we need to respond to from the public?
No, Mayor.
No? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is to consider a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters pursuant to 29 Delaware C 10004B9 and 6 relating to personnel matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we will now be going into executive session, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again in January.